Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Dave here, how are you? Today is the 16th of February 2020. I hope you've had a good week, and we need to see your projects. If you've got something happening in the shed or your workshop, shop, garage, wherever it is, in your flat, at home, wherever, I want to have a look at those things that you're doing relating to woodworking and things associated nearby it. So give me a shout via email, flick me some photos and a little bit of a story, and we can have a look on the show. All right, today, speaking of the show, what's on? Dust extractor update. Now, I will tell you a little bit more about what's been happening with the dust extractor, but the big thing that we're going to make on the show today is an inline silencer. Now, this is going to be an attempt to make a silencer. It may not work, but I've had a look at things and I've been speaking to a few different people about Sonex foam, and I'm going to try to quieten my silencer down or quieten my dust extraction system down as it goes outside. So that's going to be interesting. If it works, I'll be a hero. If it doesn't, you'll probably never come back again. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is drill press conversion. This is from Tim, and this is the one I was talking about last week, and he sent in a little bit of more detail and a couple of other photos, so we'll have a look at that. Now also next Sunday is the traditional tool groups meeting. Now I'm going to find a photo here of the traditional tool groups logo. Here it is. That's the guys there. And here are all of the details, so I don't have to run around and read it all back to you. So you can read that now and you can come back at any time to watch the show and just pick up the details. I'm going to try and get down there. I think it's a fantastic thing. Keeping old tools alive is a little bit of a passion that a few of us have got. The sick ones, of course. It can't be normal. It can't be normal. If you would imagine going back in time, maybe 200 years, and you found out that people a couple of hundred years ahead were in love with hand planes and shovels and pixomatics, they'd say you're crazy. All right. They had nothing to relate it to. They didn't have the Industrial Revolution yet. What's next? Let's make a wooden hand plane. We're going to do stage 1 today as well, if we've got time. Now, I reached out to Veritas and I said, I believe you have some hand plane kits where you supply your own timber, and they supply all the bits and pieces that happen to be needed to finish it off. Look at this. This is your lateral adjustment mechanism. They supply that. And the plans. So we're going to start that one off today. There's not going to be any big details with it. What we're going to do is put a piece of jarrah on the bottom of a piece of rock maple. Because I wanted to have the plane being rock maple, but I wanted the sole to be nice and hard and resilient to wear. And jarrah, being an Australian hardwood from Western Australia, is extremely hard and very dense. So I'm going to bond those two together after I put them over the jointer. And doing the jointer, we're going to use this fellow here. Now this is a micro gripper push block. And I can hear you saying, well, that's exciting. It is. These things are a little bit of a revolution. It's a quiet revolution, but they're fantastic. And we're going to give one away to a lucky person in either New Zealand or Australia. Again, this has been sponsored by Carbotech to give this away. So the advantages of this one over Micro Gripper's previous model, which is still good and it's designed for going over a blade on a table saw, it's kind of got a tank or a tracked base on it with slots sideways. This one is dimpled, and hence dust doesn't seem to worry it as much. It also has these little drop-down blocks here that, as you're pushing along, you can put your hand right this right at the back of something going over a joint. I'm going to demonstrate that in a minute. And those little blocks there hold onto the piece. So even if the grip stuff releases a little bit, it's still going to keep you safe. Oh, these things also click up out of the way. You watch this. Click, click, not dropping down. The ones at the back drop down or roll out of the way, depending on where they are. If you're using this on a bandsaw, you can push pieces through on the bandsaw, it'll drop down one way. And if you click that over, flip her over the other way, they drop out of the way automatically. Very, very clever idea. I was stoked. There's a little guard here that you can put on top. It doesn't come with a thing, you've got to buy this separate. But it's a deflection guard, so things flying up aren't going to hit you, and so your knuckles don't fall over the edge if you slip for whatever reason. But you know, this is great on its own, but that makes it better. We've got that. Okay, support the channel through Patreon and Amazon, links below. You didn't see that, did you? That's blatant. All right, first thing we're going to do is go over and run these things on the jointer. Get that, I get my eye muffs, and we will switch cameras there. And someone had suggested that I get a foot push block to change the cameras, and that sounds like a pretty good idea. That's the next thing I'm going to be saving up to with Patreon. Okay, so people that are supporting me are actually supporting the show. All right, I've got the jointer set to about 0.5 millimeter depth in cut. I did quickly throw the square on the outfeed table against the fence to make sure that it's nice and square. I'm going to run a piece of jarrah. Some very, very nice. That's going to end up being nice and thin. And this is a piece of rock maple. And the grain's all over the place. Basically, I'm going to dress one side to start. We'll turn the dusty on and make sure I've got my push block. I've walked away from it. All right. Very nice. So I can push that right up against the end and it's not going to go anywhere. Make sure that I'm not going to be bumping into the fence at all, because that would be terrible. I've got to be on the inside. All right, let's turn this fellow on. We'll use a couple of blocks, why not? Pushing down onto the outfeed table more than the infeed. Beautiful. That's a nice finish. Absolutely gorgeous. Now for the jarrah. Now this is very hard. Jarrah is extremely hard. And this is nice and figured as well. All right, here we go. First pass. Isn't that nice? This is why we put it over the jointer, to flatten it out and make sure that it's square against that side as well. 2 purchases. So all the weight's going onto the outfeed table. Basically, I'm just pushing it along on the infeed table. And I'm feeling extremely comfortable and safe with those. There we go. So there we go. We've got that, and let's see if it's going to match up to the piece I've just jointed. You're not going to get much better than that. What do you think? I'm not pushing. Look at the other side. We'll put those in some clamps and some glue. Come back up to here. And here as well. All good. We're doing well. Only a few minutes in. All right, glue and some clamps. And then we'll get on to this silencer. Or maybe Tim's stuff first. I love it, I love it, I love it. I'm going to use a brush for the glue. Oh, I went a little bit far. I should have put it on the shorter piece of wood. You'd think I'd learn, wouldn't you? There we go. Doesn't need too much glue. Just a cheap paintbrush. To spread the glue. Put it up here so you can see what I'm up to. And this one. I'm using a waterproof glue. Well, they say it's waterproof. They say also don't build a submarine with it. The reason get out of there. Because it may be left outside every now and then. That would be no good for, I'm just thinking aloud here. I am thinking aloud because I think I've stuffed something up. Nope. No, I have a glass here that I can put some water in. Just putting that brush in water whilst I'm putting this together. Pop that on there. And a couple of clamps. So basically all I'm doing is creating a very, very hard sole. This is how they used to do it all the time. In the olden days. Now, if you're watching the show as a premiere, well, you can join in the chat. I'm guessing there's some people there talking already. And this week, I will also be joining in the chat. As I try to do. Now I've got 2 clamps on. I'm now going to put clamps this way to pull it back the other direction. And then I might put just a little bit more on. There are ways of putting stuff together where you don't really need to worry about too many different angles on this. So we're going to put a clamp down this way. And that's going to pull that one flat, which it has. Working together. Beautiful. And this one. Good thing about these clamps is they have plastic feet that none of these glues really like to get a grip on. So easy to clean them. I'm going to put another clamp in the center there, and then we can put that aside till next week. What have we got? What have we got? I don't want too long a clamp. Maybe a couple of these little quick clamps. But when I saw these, I was told by one of the guys at work that Veritas make these little kits. I thought, I got to get one. So thank you very much. No affiliation apart from they're nice guys and sent it over to me. Beautiful. Now I'm going to put that to the side to let it dry off. They say 30 minutes in the clamps. I'll put that down there on the floor, and then you can take them out of the clamps with that particular glue. Coffee tastes great out of this cup. I don't understand it. All right, what are we going to do next? We've done that. I can cross that off my list. I'll use a texter this week. Wooden plane. Stage 1 finished. All right, let's have a look at Tim's stuff. Now, you'll remember last week I was talking about the, I'll move these all out of the way so I don't get confused. I was talking about my little Bosch drill press that is quite nice and other people really like theirs. So this one is from Tim, and I think he's done a little bit of a thing for me. I don't know if I've written it down. Yes, I have. Tim, also known as Sea Breeze Coffee. Hi Dave, mods, I used a 3D printed hub. Let me see here. Okay. I run Fusion 360 for CAD and CAM, so unlikely the files are any real use to you on Aspire, but most of it's just common sense engineering. The 3D printed bush, and we'll go over to this now. This is the drill press as you buy them in the store. And Tim has done this in Fusion 360. And he's looked at it, he's got rid of the wheel, he's going to put little handles on the side instead of for the raising and lowering. And this is the bush, he said, which is finally sized after I drilled the holes with Sutton TCT hole saws from the top and the bottom. And I think it's just amazing. I love what he's done with it. And it's a little table he's made, a little MFT style table that he's made, and the sole, the foot on the drill press locks in to previous holes so he can drill another one. Very, very clever. And it tilts as well. It tilts. Look at that. Okay. Now, he also says the Bosch mods I used a 3D printed hub as it's dimensionally tighter and adding a slot for the alignment pin was easier. Also, I've just done a series of dogs for my cheapy Azito saw. Now, see if I can find it. Tim's chamfer tools and track saw tools. Okay, so first we'll go with the track saw one. It's a little bit similar to the one that John made. John had a threaded section all the way down and a screw-up clamp that locked on. Tim's is in two sections. You can see that there's a mortise and tenon joint that that screw or metal thread pulls through, and that's all part of locking it together onto the track. And then you drop that into the track saw, into the holes in the bench. These ones here. After, of course, you clean up the chamfers off with his little tool. Now, the thing is that works really, really well on MDF, and you can see the curlies look fantastic, but they don't really tend to work any good with plywood. You really need the speed and a cutter turning around 20,000 RPM to deliver a really clean cut on plywood. So thank you very much for that, Tim. It's great. As I say, if you're doing something that's interesting, or maybe boring, I don't care. But if you're doing something that interests you, send it in. And there's got to be at least one other person who's interested, and quite possibly a lot. I find, and this, I'm not yanking your chain, this is honest. Not that anything else that I'm saying isn't, but what I'm going to say is, there are so many times where I do something here and I think to myself, no one's going to be interested in seeing that. And then, unbelievably, there are so many people in the same boat that are going through the same problems or processes that you are, and they are interested. It's not something that's going to make the front page of the newspaper, but people are interested in it. So do it. Send me some photos in. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Aka Seabreeze. So there we go. We've got the second one done. Drill press conversion. That was number 3. Traditional tool group next Sunday. If you want to score some nice planes and nice old tools, get yourself along there. I'll put that picture back up again a little bit later on in the show. The push block that I was talking about, that micro jig push block, which is fantastic. I'm going to use it on the table saw in a minute as well. So it can be used on jointer, table saw, router table, bandsaw. It's extremely functional, and it's not cheap, but it does not slip. That's all there is to it. Move that out of the way as well. All right. The dust extractor update. I don't know if I've got any more video here, but let's see if I've got any pictures. I don't think I do. I haven't got any more pictures, but it's going really, really well. Now what I've done is I've downloaded an app which measures decibels. So we're going to make this little silencer. Then I'm going to go outside, and without the silencer fitted, I'll turn on the decibel meter, and then we'll slide the silencer over. Now either I'll have egg on my face, or it will make a difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an octagon, a sleeve that's 530 millimeters long, and it's going to be octagonal in shape, and I've done a rough drawing here to get some quick dimensions for me. I've got a 6-inch PVC pipe, which is my exhaust pipe, running from the dust extractor to the from close near the door there to the other side of the building where it's free to go. There is not much comes out, I'll tell you that now, but sound does. It's basically like a horn or a trumpet. You know, you've got this long tube and it's going to make resonations. Now I don't know whether it's a high frequency or a low frequency. The stuff, this sonic stuff, is for high frequency. It's for voice, but it's not for a lot of bass. So we'll see how it goes. I will have a look at doing something with bass further down the track if this doesn't quite work. So these are my hexagonal pieces, my octagon, I should say, my octagonal pieces here. Now these I've worked out to be about 115 millimeters long point to long point. So I'm going to set the table saw up at 22.5 degrees, which is half of a 45-degree angle. So for that angle there is 45 degrees, 2 halves. We divide the angle by 2, and it takes it down to 22.5 degrees. 22.5 there, 22.5 there. Long point to long point is 115 millimeters. I've allowed enough here for the foam to actually hold onto the pipe and also hang off the end. So hopefully I'm going to dampen the sound of vibration at the end of the pipe and also the air coming out of there, like a silencer on a gun. That's what I thought about. I thought, you know, this has got to work. I've had people say to me, Dave, it doesn't work like that. There's an awful lot happening in a silencer and a gun, and they're not as quiet as they seem on the movies. So we'll see what we can do. I'll get started with this. Now this is actually one of the things that I'm going to be using. It is offcut. It's, you know, just timber that went wrong on the CNC machine. Give me a quick sec. Tastes great. All right, let's go over here. I shall move the camera as well back to where it was, but rather than moving it whilst you're watching, I shall leave you looking into the abyss. Move this camera over here beside the table saw. Sorry, I'm taking a bit of time with this, but I think if I get it right, it's going to be a whole lot better than rushing. That doesn't look too bad. I'll tip that camera up ever so slightly. That's pretty good. All right, what do I want to do now? I'm going to... I was thinking about using just some stock guides, but I think I'll just use this, considering this is the kind of thing we're talking about a lot today. It might work very well for me. This over here, this here. Shut this one off. Open up the table saw's dust extraction, which it is. Roll that around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rip it down the center to 250, straight up and down, and then I've got 2 smaller pieces that are going to be much more manageable. All right, all that's good. Just doing a quick check. Turn on the dusty. And table saw on. The other one. off, and off. Wait for the saw to coast to a stop. Now I've done that because when I've got the saw tipped over at 22.5 degrees, I only have these small pieces to deal with. I don't want to have a short piece here and a large piece here. Also, you'll notice with the blade guard on, this splitter here stops any timber, once it's gone past the blade, from being able to be caught and putting me in strife as far as kickback's concerned. I can't stress enough, use this or at least a riving knife and it's going to save your life. It really is. All right, we'll set this now around 2. We'll raise it up a little. And I'm going to tip her over to 22.5 degrees. Now the insert that I made for this saw works very well. There we go, lock it there. With this blade, even when it's tipped over at an angle. This is a piece of magnetic advertising for a local real estate agent, I think it was. These things came in the mail. I use these over the slot here for when I'm adjusting the angle. It helps to get rid of some of the draft that gets sucked in from around the saw. I want it to be working here. All right, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, and I'll get the 4th one. Excuse me a second. We're doing well for time too, this is great. Now it's 115 to the top, so I'm going to bring that over to 115 there. And that should give me enough for the other side. Yes, good. So I'll do that. I'll do a couple of them this way, and then they should all work perfectly. It's pretty cluey. I'm going to drop these guys here. These are anti-kickback pawls. Now, in the case where if I'm pushing timber through and it does catch for any reason, these things will dig in to the timber and hold it, so it's not going to be a problem for me. All right, dust extraction again, and we'll lower this like so. Dusty. And I will fit through. Always check before you start a cut that everything is going to work for you. I don't need the blade up that high, I can lower it down. About there. Just as long as I'm thicker, I'm above the timber. Obviously, it's not going to get past the splitter otherwise. Here we go. Okay, that's one. And now I can turn this over and go again. Now I've got to be careful here because I've got a skinny piece of timber coming through. So I hold on to it. Once it's gone past, and it's going to grab it. So we'll turn the saw off. See that there was a hole in it. So I knew that was going to be an issue. That's why I've turned it off, stood away. I'll wait for the blade to finish turning, which it has. Then I can get that last piece. If this had caught, that's a javelin. Okay. So now I have one stave of the barrel. Let's call it that. And that is 120. So we need to take it back a little more. I think that's going to be pretty good. I'll do a quick test on measurement with that up. measure it. One, it needs to be a little bit closer. We'll take it in another 1.5. Take it to 108 millimeters. And that should give me the perfect width. Drop this down again. Now I am going to have another skinny piece come off, so I've got to be aware that it's coming through, but it's going to hold because that hole isn't all the way through anymore. One of those things, as you do stuff, you start to think, yep, I know how that works. Block again. Gotcha. One last measure. Beautiful. 115. That's what I'm after. 7 more. It's all good. This should be fine. I was just thinking then about how this is going to work, and it'll be good. Because now I can spin that around this way, and this one I can put through this way. Move these out of the way over here. Yep. 4. Five. 6. I'm in a situation where leaning over the saw isn't really an issue. If the blade guard wasn't there, it would be a big issue. But this is a really big indicator to me as to where everything is. Just as long as I'm outside of it, I'm good. And as I say, I have those anti-kickback pawls. They're all there working to look after me as well. You know, they say there are 20 amputations a day in the States from table saws, which is a terrible situation. One of the reasons why I go on about trying to do things as safe as possible. And that. All right. That is all of my cutting done. Moment of truth. We'll take it all back over to the table here, back onto my bench, and of course have another drink of refreshment back to there. There we go. Can't put it there, you won't see it. All right, this is exciting. We're doing well for time as well. I'm going to lay these out like so. All touching. And then we're going to put some blue tape on and turn it upside down and then put some glue on it. And then roll it all up like I did with the box the other day. You remember? Beautiful box. I love it. And the last one. Now an octagon has got to have 8 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And have I got the blue tape here? Yep, there it is. I'm going to give it possibly a couple of runs here. This is so much fun. What I'll do is I'm going to get that other, I might just tip the camera down a little bit while I'm doing this so you can see what's going on. How's that? Is it a bit better? So the tape is just a carrier for it. It holds on. Can't really see me too much, but there's probably a lot of people would be saying thank heavens. Yes, just as a carrier, and holds it all together, making sure without picking up any splinters in my fingers. All right, time to turn it over. Let's see how we go. It's always fun, this part. So when we turn it, we kind of have to turn it. It's a lot of fun, this part. Oh, look, there's another way of doing it, which is probably going to be easier. Yes. Slide it all towards me. Like so. And then I can stand it up with a piece of something across there. What'll I use? I haven't got a piece. There's something in the timber rack. I'll use that. Whole piece of cedar. This might work. Basically, I'm just putting this underneath and lifting it all up in one go. That's better. And then I can drag it backwards towards me. And then when I've got it upright, I'm going to put it on the other side to lower it down. So it doesn't rely on the tape to do it all. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Just moved that. Going to see if the other camera is going to work any better. Not bad. Tip it up just a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. Glue, and then we're going to fold it up. Oh, camera up there. Put the glue on, and then we're going to fold it up, of course. Now the glue, we can't hang around too long with it because it goes off pretty quickly. This one takes the longest out of all of them. I think it's about 9 minutes, but you know, at 9 minutes it's starting to say, I don't want to do anything at all. You're set. So I need to get through it quickly. and have this all folded up and clamps on within, say, 4 minutes, if I can. Beautiful. Now take that out of the water and give it a quick flick. All right, now this is where a paintbrush is actually better than a glue brush, because it just spreads it all the way down through the joint. We may also put a bit more glue in there as well. That's going well. Very good. And the sole plate on that plane is looking good. Bit excited to take the clamps off and show you how it looks. I'm not going to put it over the jointer today or the table saw, because I don't want it. They say not to stress the glue or the joint for at least 24 hours. I think that's what they say. Maybe I just made it up. Could be 10 hours. I try and leave things for at least overnight. I'm going to put a little bit more in here. I'm going to cheat with this one a little bit too. I'm going to, after I put the clamps on and pull it up with strap clamps, I'm going to put zip ties on it. Oh, that's better. Because that will hold it steady, because I want to do a test up here. I want to do a test this afternoon. Or this morning, I should say. This morning. This is good. That makes me feel a bit better. Water. Back in you go. Lovely. All right, I'm going to roll it all up and see how we go. Oh, last joint, last part of the joint. I'm an idiot. Can you believe I did that? I can't. I did everything else, but I didn't do this last bit here. And this end. I love this stuff. People think I'm weird. But half of it's doing the thing, and the other half is seeing if it's going to work. This kind of experimental research is very rewarding if it works. And if it doesn't, well, you know, it was scrap anyway, so it's not going to worry me too much. I'm not concerned about a little bit of glue on the inside there. All right, all done. Let's roll her up. Come on. And from this side. It's looking okay. Probably not the world's best 22 and a half degrees. Maybe I should have put the mag switch on it. Sorry, not the mag switch, the miter set. Might have been better. Now, can I stand her up? Is the next question. Like that? Yes, I can. That's promising. All right. That movement there may have been the whole thing flexing, the tape pulling. All right. Down we go. And as I said before, it's like going fishing with this stuff. Give it a little tap here and there. That's looking good. And that's all good around there. All right, the top one. I should get another one of these straps for things like this. But as I say, I'll put the zippies on, pull them up nice and tight, and hopefully that'll work. I'll turn it around so you can see what I'm up to with the clamps. Whoop, bring it down a little. That's all good. Pull it up tight. Oh, those joints are coming up really well. I'm surprised. I thought, oh, I've stuffed something here. But that's... pulling up very well. I'm very happy with that. I'll show you. Have a look. Have a look at the end. They're all good joints. Beautiful. All right, and you can see here the tape has stretched. So even putting 4 pieces on wasn't going to be enough. Maybe I should have put more, but I knew I was going to come along after it with the strap clamps and pull it up tight. Now, as I say, I don't have any more strap clamps, so I can't ideally I'd like to put another one on the middle. But what I can do, I'll see if I've got one of the other little clamps down here. I might have another one. Searching. Nothing there, nothing in there, nothing in there. I used to have tiny little clamps and I forget where I put them. Do you ever get that where you think, I know I've got something here? No. Are they in here? No. Checking a couple more boxes here. No, I don't have them. All right, that's all there is to it. We'll let that go. The glue is going to be fine as it is. And if I need to further down the track, I can put a couple of pocket holes in here and there. But I'm going to put some zippies on now. So these guys, switch cameras back. Let's see if we can aim that up to about there. Go to the other camera. That one, and transition. All right, what I'm going to do here is use some of these things. These are zip ties. I think everyone knows what these are all about. And basically, I'm going to make them longer by sliding a couple together until they grip. You don't have to do too much. And then I can pull that. And that will act as a pretty good clamp. I'll put another one here. And then we can have a look at cutting the foam in. The Sonics. I'm excited about it. Okay, this one over here. About there. Give it to it. Oh, that slipped. Oh, it's not grabbing. That one's had it. Look at that. I've never had that happen before. Let's get a couple more. Maybe I pulled too tight on it. It's one of those things, I'll tell you what, they use these for putting on bad people instead of cufflinks these days. They wouldn't want that to happen then, would they? I wonder if that's a known thing with them, where if you pull them too tight, that they're going to relax. There we go, that's pretty good. I always try and nip these off at the same time. They might stay living there, you never can tell. How are we doing for time? Pretty good, nearly there. All right, we've got to put the foam in. I'll grab this foam. Where are we? Now this stuff is easily cut with scissors, and that's what I'm going to do. So it's this stuff, and I'm going to do a quick measure. Take it out of the packaging that it came in first. Another one of those things I should have done before I started the camera. There we go. All right, so this is the stuff. Now I'm going to put this inside. I think I need to do it from there to there. I nearly lost my coffee cup. Whoop, that would have been a tragedy. Scissors. I'm hoping I've got scissors down here. Not in there. What about in here? No, I do not. Ah, that's a bit of bother. That is a bit of bother. I must have a knife lying around. I think I've taken all the scissors upstairs. Let me have a look over here. Knife. Then David, if I haven't got scissors, found the knife. All right. Obviously, it would have been neater with some scissors, but not to worry. That's done. I'm going to slide this down inside like that. Ta-da! And another one on the other side, same length. Gotcha. And hopefully it's going to work. I think I might need to have to tip it over. I want to put the, I really do want to put this on and get the decibel reader running, if I can. It's getting it. This is one of the good things. I hadn't done this before, and it shows. That's starting to come through. And pull it back. It's all in position. Go to the other end and pull it back through. It's getting there. The good thing is that it does squish. Alrighty. I think we'll get there. That's what we've got. I'm going to do it a little bit neater, but not while the cameras are running. I'm going to move that camera outside now so we can see what's happening. All right. And then I'm going to run round to the outside of the building and try and fit it and turn this app on and see if it's going to work or not. I think that's working. I think that's going to work. I'm stretching these cables to their limits of what they actually want to do. All right. The other camera. Okay, phone in my pocket, and also the remote, and you should be able to still be able to hear me. I'm going to turn to this camera here. I'm going to go out and round the back, and we're going to have a test. I'm still talking. Hopefully the sound is still going to stick with me as I go around the back of the building. The rain here has been unbelievable. I don't know if you can still hear me or not, but you will want to get around there. So I'll just stay quiet. I should be getting closer. It looks like a bomb out here with all the flooding. Oh, there's a little dragon. Look at that little fellow. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully you can hear me. Now I'm going to turn the Dusty on. And this is the kind of noise I want to get rid of. I'll turn the app on. Here we are, sound meter. And we are now running at 66 decibels, 66, 68, which they say is the same as heavy traffic. So that's around 2 feet from the end. If I move back a little bit, it quietens down. I'm down to 57, 60. It's rushing, it's jumping between busy traffic and conversation. Turn it off, put it in my pocket. Turn it off. Okay, moment of truth. This is going to slide over there. It's not how it's going to end up, but I'm going to slide it over there for the moment. Well, that's the plan anyway, if it will allow me to. There she goes. All right, it's on. I'm going to turn it on. Now that is slightly muffled. Not a lot, but it is. It's working. Let's check with the app. As I said, about 2 feet away from the end to start. Two feet away, I'm at 61 decibels, 59. 4 feet away. Much the same. So I don't have that higher level there. Even at this distance, 57. 60. All right, that's very interesting. Close all. I'll turn it off. There's more I have to do to it. I am thinking about possibly running it around the pipe as well. See if I can deaden the vibration in the pipe itself. I'll come back in. All right, this is a good test to see how these new microphones go on. Right around the other side of the building, coming back up. Path. Of course, not only did I have to go around the building, I had to go also down a few feet at the same time. All right, let's switch cameras. back to there. All right. I had a ball doing that. That was so much fun. We've got this down here, which is my clamped pieces. We can take them out of the clamps now. And these two. There we go. So, the extremely hard jarrah is glued to the base. I will clean all this up next week and we'll slice that down to being around 1/4 of an inch thick, 6.35 millimeters. People have been saying, Dave, talk in imperial so we can understand what's going on. Well, I often do. And that should be quite nice. Very excited about that. All right. What have we got on the run sheet? Dust extractor. Inline separator attempt. Traditional tool group meeting next Sunday for people in Sydney. And here's the time and the location again. So you can write that down. And also, if you want to win one of these guys, which is the micro jig push block, and you're in Australia or New Zealand, check down below in the description box. I'll have links there to the raffle copter. These are really, really nice. They say if they get dirty, you can clean them with denatured alcohol, and away you go again. That's really good grip stuff. It's almost the same as the Festool grip tape that I use on the benches, as far as it's gripping. Very, very nice indeed. Okay, and I think that's a lot. I was thinking about going over to, and I will. We've got a couple of minutes, maybe a minute. Whoop, lizards everywhere. They're all out after the rain, catching mosquitoes and things for me. All right. Up to there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the camera into the other room and turn the Dusty on and put my hand up near the import, in the part that goes, the suction point, and you can hear when I turn this, that machine is totally on this machine here. See the bristles start to fold in immediately. That's fair suction. And that's because I've got the 6-inch line running all the way up to the top from the machine. All the way through is 6-inch. And it's just this last section of hose, flexible hose, and that 4-inch pipe across the top that is 4-inch. It's a similar principle to using a crevice nozzle on a vacuum cleaner. You know, ordinarily for the stuff you're going around on the floor, it works. But if you really want to concentrate the force, you reduce the diameter. And this thing's got enough grunt now to be able to concentrate more feed there. And back over here. I didn't switch the cameras, did I? Let's do that again. I'll turn her on. And you can see where I was pointing. Sorry about that. Feel that? Or hear that, I should say. As the same. 4-inch flex up to a 4-inch pipe at the top, and then it goes 6-inch for the whole rest of the system. You may have seen me in the other room, from the other room, talking about it. Okay, back to the main camera. Yeah, no, you wouldn't have seen me, because I moved the camera. Okay. People have probably been shouting out, Dave, 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 switch the cameras. I guess I should. All right, where are we up to? 8mm cutters. I was going to talk about the Seneca RTS, not the RFS. Last week I was referring it to as an RFS 500. So we had the Rural Fire Service and that was just on my mind. So it's the RTS 500. And the thing with the cutters that I was talking about, even though that RTS 500 will extend the length of all 4, 5, 6, 8 and 10 millimeter cutters, the cutters will not cut any deeper than they were originally designed to cut with the Domino 500. The cutters have a certain length and then they flare out for the connection onto the 500 or to the RTS 500. So they can't go any deeper than what they originally did. Now the 8 and the 10 millimeter that are designed for the 700, the XL, will go deeper. So I think they both go around 70 millimeters deep, not 28 millimeters deep. It's a very, very clever engineering thing that they've done. And because Festool made it so that the arc, that the tip of the arc of all of their cutters on the 700 is exactly the same as the length of the arc at the tip of all of their cutters on the 500. So in other words, the 500 has a longer swing because it's a shorter length, so it's like a short pendulum. And the 700 has a shorter distance because of the extra length. All right, there we go. I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. And thank you very much to all my patrons. And I've got a new patron this week, Hilton Bond. Thank you very much for coming on board and supporting us. And the people that are supporting me now at this level and higher is Johannes Moa, John W., John Parra, Vincent Yang, John Lafferty, who is still in hospital. You can't win a trick, this guy. So if you've got prayers or whatever, or any other way of supporting him and Julia, please do so. Peter Woolworth, Brian Shaw, Brian Del Vecchio, Justin Bailey, Brett Guthrie, and Hilton Bond. And all of those people are lucky, lucky, lucky to be able to get one of these things. Okay, look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I shall see you next week. Even though I'll be at the tool show, I'll still be broadcasting.